Good morning, Lancers. This is Mr. Smith with another episode of Lancer Life, and joining us today is Dr. Romeo, principal of Lakeside High School.
Good afternoon.
How you doing today?
Doing well, thank you.
Okay, so let's start off with, you had some conversations with some students and staff so far this year. What's been kind of your sense of the opening of the school year? What things have you kind of noticed that have been a real positive for your year so far?
I think the school culture, it seems like there's excitement for the new year. And visiting students in their classrooms, even outside during lunchtime, I think there's just a sense of wanting to be here. I think students are excited. I think the sports schedule, I've been able to attend many of the games that are happening, whether it's volleyball, football, and there's just an excitement right now. I think kids, staff, all of us, we're kind of excited for the things to come with this brand new year.
Yeah, I was at the football game on Friday, and it seemed
you were
like
actually the commentator.
Yeah, and it was an exciting game, obviously, and even though we didn't necessarily get the result that we wanted, it was still an exciting game. Something that probably we want more people to show up and see the level of performance of our athletic teams.
Absolutely.
We have a new athletic director. What's been your take on the changing of the sports environment here at Lakeside?
I think it's positive. I think with Mr. Lawson, with his sports background, former Division I wrestler, former athletic director, I think in Orange County. I think his belief of students, his philosophy lines up well with mine, and I think our staff in terms of producing student athletes. That to me is the number one priority, ensuring that our students are working hard in the classroom, and that then will transfer over to the field. But it can't be the other way, and that's kind of the big message that I want to share with students is, the work you put in the classroom, that discipline, that's what's going to lead you to being a great athlete on the field or on the court, but it doesn't happen the other way, and I think that's really important for our students to differentiate. I think Mr. Lawson, he gets that. I think with his All-American status as a wrestler, coaching wrestlers, I think he understands the philosophy of giving that 120% every single minute, every single day. And I think even though we didn't win this past football game, I think the students are learning that discipline. I think Coach Seidler is doing a great job, for all of our student athletes. I love the fact that we're having that mandatory after-school tutoring for the football team. And I've dropped by, I've seen our students who are really making that a point to make sure their grades are where they need to be. And then at that point, being able to transfer that discipline over to the field. And I think we're close to a win.
Yeah, and then think about, not only do we want our students to be really engaged in terms of athletics and after-school sports and those types of things, but what's been your sense about the student involvement in clubs and different activities that we have on campus? What's been your sense so far about the opening of the school year?
Students wanting to be plugged in. I think we had a club rush actually that was set up last Friday when we actually had to cancel school. But I know there was a lot of anticipation. Even students are asking me right now, when are we going to reschedule it? Because they want to ensure that they can represent with their club. Working with ASB, with Ms. Gonzalez, I've signed probably at least 20 clubs that have been approved for this year. Give a special plug for my environmental club. I know that's one that a lot of students are getting excited about. Knowing that our campus is beautiful. We have such an amazing campus physically, but ensuring that we're really taking good care of it and that we're treating it like our home, and ensuring that, if somebody is leaving their trash or, attempting to, that we hold each other accountable. It's our school. We want to make sure that it represents who we are, and that's caring, and that's making sure that we're keeping the environment the way it needs to be.
Yeah, and I know that we also were kind of involved in the on the 18th, where we have that college and career night at the Outlet Center in Lake Elsinore. What's kind of your sense of, are people looking forward to that? Do we need to get more people involved in that kind of thing? What's been your sense about that?
More involvement. I'm glad you actually brought that up, Mr. Smith. I don't know if we've had enough dialogue about it, and I think that's one thing that I want to continue to put out there. That's a huge event for the community. It's further on the 15 freeway. I think kind of by Temescal Canyon.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping that not only is Temescal represented, but we're making sure that our students and our families are there as well, to really understand the vision of what our district is trying to encompass with college and career, but especially what we're trying to accomplish here at Lakeside with our distinctive being an avid national demo, having career tech opportunities, our big college and career day, which is going to be next month on the 16th, where we're going to have a lot of different events, guest speakers. I think that's all lining up for a nice package in terms of what we're trying to produce, which is students having the opportunity to pursue college and pursue that dream career, and really looking at this environment here at Lakeside as the training ground for helping our students know what they want to do in the future and helping support them to get there.
Yeah. Now, I know that this year has presented its various challenges. What's been probably the number one challenge that you've experienced so far in the opening of the school year?
I think, the fires, the recent fires, I think. I wasn't here last school year when I know it really impacted our school and we had to actually close shop for a while. But I could imagine staff and students who went through it last year and then kind of sensing that maybe it's happening again. As a leader, trying to make sure that I'm supportive and that I'm aware and that, and essentially keeping the school and our students safe and the community safe, that was definitely a challenge. I know we didn't have school last Friday, which was nice, but I think the other side of that is we truly had families and staff members who couldn't come to school that day because they were truly being impacted where they live. So it's ensuring that our staff is safe, their families are taken care of, and also our students here, and making sure that our entire Lakeside community is supported in the event of an emergency, and making sure that we're prepared, in the event of an emergency. I think the power outage a few weeks ago as well, that also brought to light communication. And, if all the electricity's out, how do we communicate? And I know we use that new app, Parent Square, to communicate with our parents, our students, and even our staff members. And I think that's really critical for us to be aware that in the event of an emergency, are we prepared? And I think that's my responsibility to ensure that we're practicing and we know, the procedures, the guidelines, and that staff understands it as well. And then students, our students are able to follow the direction and they know what's coming. In terms of emergency drills, I know the Great Shakeout is also coming up, I think middle of October as well. Right. And that's a district-wide, statewide actually, for the whole state of California, where everybody on that day at that exact same time is practicing that drill. So that's one thing that we want to be prepared for as well, knowing that at any moment there could be a disaster, and how prepared are we really for that type of event?
Yeah, and then thinking about, I think it was Tuesday, we had that earthquake in the middle of fifth period, and it's like, it's like one of those moments where this is what we're supposed to do, and it was a nice reminder. Yes. Not necessarily that we had any damage or anything happened as a result of that, but it's just a good reminder that we need to be prepared and respond calmly in situations like that.
That's true, very true. I was actually in a meeting with some other principals, and then in the middle of the meeting, the table shook pretty hard. I think it was centralized in Wildemar. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I think we felt it pretty hard, even though the news said it was only like a 1 or 2. It felt a lot stronger than that. But I completely agree, and I think also along those lines is just really valuing every moment that we have and being able to take care of one another. And in the event that something like that were to happen, being aware and looking around and doing what you can to take care of the person that's next to you.
Mm-hmm. Now, I know that today is the end of the first grading period, so DF notices should be coming out, I think, the middle of next week.
Yes.
And parents are going to get notified whether or not their students are in danger of failing a particular course. What kind of options do students have available to them for, let's say they need some tutoring or they need some additional help? What kind of resources do we have that's available here at Lakeside to help them get caught back up?
Great point. So right now we're actually in the middle of putting together a tutoring schedule So I know Glinda in the counseling office, she's reaching out to staff to figure out what the tutoring schedule or office hours look like. And also on my end, I'm looking at different avenues for providing centralized tutoring as well, almost like a guarantee. So any student, regardless of the day of the week, the time after school, they can go to this area and there's going to be somebody who's there to tutor. And I kind of look at that in regards to how football was able to do that with theirs, having that conference room available every day after school. It's predictable, you know the time. So we are working on that right now to figure out if we can get some content teachers who can be available during that time slot at an area where students can easily access. I think in terms of IC, wanting our students to be aware and to be constantly monitoring their grades, I can't say that enough. For our students to not wait to the last minute, but to be looking on a daily basis to ensure that they're turning in their homework. And if they didn't turn it in, communicating to a teacher and saying, hey, you know what, I forgot this, or I need time, and building those communication skills so that we're not waiting to the very last minute. In terms of the DF notices, the window does open today, and it closes, I'm looking at my calendar, I think it's next week on the 18th. And that's when, at that point, the district actually is changing the procedure for getting those DNF notices out. They're going to be sent out via Parent Square immediately. So it's going to be important for our students to be aware of that. So even this weekend or next weekend, to be on top of the assignments that you have, communicate with your teachers, and get that work in, knowing that we're going to do our best to get the message out to families to let them know, hey, this is what's happening. And it's not happening to you. It's happening because there's something that maybe we need to do on our end as a student to get that work in and to monitor and to progress monitor where you're at, and communicate with your teachers to ensure you're getting your assignments in.
And we've been, as you mentioned before, we're going to do that college and career kickoff in the middle of October, and we're kind of taking some time in our advisory classes to make sure that kids are ready for that. Maybe talk a little bit about what we are planning for that college and career kickoff that's coming up next month.
Sure. So for the college and career kickoff, it really is going to be grade level specific. So our advisory team, many of your colleagues across all departments, they're really working hard to make it very specific to each grade level. We have some guest speakers lined up. We have workshops led by professional staff members who are really going to give insight into some career options. College, of course, so it's going to be an exciting time to really motivate our students to pursue that passion, knowing that we have people on this campus who can kind of give that knowledge, but also trying to inspire them with other people who have different stories and bringing them a really special guest speaker that we're really excited to bring in, specifically for our freshman students, who I think is going to really motivate and inspire them. I think the freshman year is so critical. And I think for our freshmen, we have to really be there to support you guys and really start off strong so that way it continues all the way to your senior year.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Romero, for taking the time and kind of giving us the latest scoop on some of the things that are going around campus, and we look forward to continued success this year. So thank you for taking the time.
My pleasure. Keep on working hard, Lancers. We're going to have a great year.
Thank you.